Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G133. I'm back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here with your Smackdown review and results for July 16th, 2021. And finally, as The Rock would say, finally, we have fans back in attendance. After a year and a half, WWE fans are back home in the arena where they belong. No more virtual crowds, no more Thunderdome, no more Performance Center. We are finally back where we belong. And yes, I am a guy that's in the past that has made jokes about WWE fans being in attendance. But if there's one thing that we've learned from the COVID era is to be grateful for what we have. Be grateful. And no matter how many fans show up at a WWE show, no matter if it's half capacity, 1/4 capacity, full capacity, we should be grateful because without the WWE Universe, wrestling in general is not the same. The reaction from that crowd last night in Houston was absolutely amazing. And just looking back at it, we missed that. We got a very small glimmer of that at WrestleMania because, remember, WrestleMania was nowhere close to full capacity. Nowhere close. It was a little over 10,000 people, which is, not even enough for a normal Raw or SmackDown. But this is what a WWE show should feel like. And then going forward, as we have Money in the Bank, and we have Monday Night Raw, and we have Summerslam, which is supposed to have, 60,000 people in that stadium in Las Vegas, we have to be grateful for what we have. We really do. No matter if the shows are bad or fantastic, just having the WWE Universe back there reacting. So if you guys heard some of those pops from last night, Vince McMahon's entrance, Roman Reigns' entrance, Edge had an insane pop. Just hearing the reaction of the fans, the organic reaction, not some piped in crowd noise, not piped in cheers or boos, just the organic reaction of the crowd, seeing their favorite superstars, getting to see live in-ring action in person again. Just getting that feeling is absolutely amazing. Remember, we thought the pandemic was only going to last, 4, 5, maybe 6 months? We thought, probably by, the end of the summer, things should be back to normal. We thought we were going to have a normal SummerSlam last year. I remember having tickets already for the show, hoping that we were going to get the Sasha and Bayley feud in the TD Garden in Sasha's hometown for SummerSlam. But no one knew that the pandemic would last this long, last over a year and a half. It's been stressing on all of us, not just from a wrestling perspective, just in life in general. And I know we're still not even technically out of it. I know that some states around, the country are still struggling with vaccination rates, right, and haven't fully reopened. But the fact that we're somewhat getting back to whatever it is you want to call this, the new normal, right, or back to normal, whatever you want to call this, it just feels good to have something that we recognize as organic, for real. Because this is what it's all about. And I'm just so happy. I'm not even gonna go into if SmackDown was good or bad, really, right? SmackDown was decent, all right? It wasn't a perfect show, but I'll give them a pass just for tonight, just because it felt so good to have that crowd back. That's the big thing. The big takeaway is having the crowd back. Because that's what WWE superstars live for. That's what we as WWE fans live for. And that's what we all want. I was at the last SmackDown before the pandemic hit. It was the SmackDown where Sasha Banks had come back before. She had been gone for about a month, right? Bayley was still feuding with Lacey Evans and Naomi at the time. It was also the SmackDown where John Cena last appeared on live television. It was John Cena. The SmackDown was in Boston at the TD Garden, right? It was basically a hometown show because Cena is from Massachusetts. So that was where the Fiend challenged Cena to the WrestleMania match. And we also got the announcement of Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, right? And that feels like eons ago. And now here we are a year and a half later, finally with fans back in attendance. It just feels so good. So good. And I'm so happy because so many people have worked hard to get us to this stage, just to get us back with live crowds. Now that you have live crowds back and you feel the excitement, the WWE Universe was excited for everything. From the six-man tag team match to the Fatal 4 later into the show to the SmackDown Women's Championship match, the energy was off the charts all night long. Now it's on WWE Creative, right? The people running Raw and SmackDown. It's on them to actually write good storytelling. You make the people who are paying to be in those seats, to be in those arenas, who have waited a year and a half to come back home, make them feel validated. Make them feel like you actually care about them. Don't give us the same bullcrap that you gave us in the Thunderdome. All right? There were some good things about the Thunderdome, but for the most part, the Thunderdome wasn't that special. It wasn't. Now is the time to put your best foot forward. You want to make SummerSlam look like the biggest show of the year? You want to make SummerSlam this year's WrestleMania? It's time to give your best ideas. It's time to be creative. No more 50-50 booking. No more nonsense. No more goof. Nah. SummerSlam should be treated like a road to WrestleMania build. Give us the matches we want. Give us the feuds we want. And let's make this a great return. So that's something that it's something that we can all enjoy. Right? So I just wanted to, really speak on that really quickly. I guess you could call this my opening shoot, but I just wanted to speak on what my thoughts on were having fans back in attendance. And we'll talk about that a lot more as we get into tonight's review. But I just want to mention one thing on the Raw side of things, right? For those of you guys who have social media, you guys probably already know this, but it looks like the plan, we should be seeing a lot of big returns in the next week. Right? Right now, John Cena is rumored to return on SmackDown next week, the 23rd, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Where I also expect Sasha Banks to be back. I know a lot of people expected Sasha to be back the last night for SmackDown, but she didn't, which I'm totally fine with. Right? She's not going to be in the Money in the Bank. They announced Tamina to be the last entry into that match. So no Becky, no Sasha in Money in the Bank. But I would not be surprised if Becky returned either at Money in the Bank this Sunday or on the next night on Monday Night Raw. I have no confirmation on if she's returning this weekend, but I do know that she will be at Money in the Bank. That is confirmed, but we just don't know if she'll have any role on the show. But, there has been a lot of photos out there of Becky, training, and she looks in fantastic shape, especially for someone who just had a baby less than 6 months ago. So definitely, Money in the Bank. If she wants to appear after the Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte match, that would be absolutely fantastic. I don't think anybody would complain about that. If they just wait till Monday night, no one's gonna complain about that either. But me personally, I hope they have Becky return either Money in the Bank or Monday Night Raw. Sasha should most likely she'll be back next Friday on SmackDown. I'm willing to bet they'll have her confront Bianca, and that will set up the SummerSlam rematch that we've all been waiting for. Also, I know I already spoke about John Cena, right? Hopefully the plan is still John Cena versus Reigns at SummerSlam. But we don't know what Cena's SummerSlam match is going to be. But that's the match that, has been heavily rumored. But this makes me angry. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I want to get into SmackDown. But Goldberg is rumored to make an appearance on Monday Night Raw this Monday. I'm not excited about it at all. Because the rumor right now is Bobby Lashley will be defeating Kofi Kingston at Money in the Bank, which none of us are really surprised at, even though I want Kofi to win, right? I would have no problem with Kofi winning, or if you had Bobby Lashley win, having Big E win Money in the Bank and cash in on the winner, either on Kofi and turning heel, or cashing it on Bobby, and kind of bringing this story with the New Day full circle. But Instead, it looks like Lashley's just going to get a clean win over Kofi, and the plan is for Goldberg to uh, challenge Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. I'm not excited for it at all. You know, if you're not going to give me Brock Lesnar, right, I would rather you just give me Big E. Or I would just have Kofi win. Like, why? Who the hell wants to see? God, like, honestly, you bring fans back, and the first thing you do is call up Goldberg? Really? I understand. And the thing about it is, all these part-timers coming back. Look, I'm fine with Edge, right? I could, handle Edge being back, right? And even though is Edge even technically a part-timer, I don't really know. I don't know. I know Edge's contract is a little bit wonky. I think it's like 6 appearance or 6 matches a year, something like that. I don't know his full contract. But, Edge is kind of in that middle ground between part-timer and full-timer. So he gets a little bit of a pass. John Cena, it's John Cena. And we haven't seen the guy in like forever. I don't even really count the Firefly Funhouse match. We haven't seen the guy in the ring in ages. Right? We all want Cena versus Reigns at SummerSlam. No one's complaining about that. And we've all wanted the Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley match. I don't know if you guys saw the photo on the internet of, Lesnar grew out his beard again and now he has like a ponytail. Imagine seeing that Brock on, live television. We all been wanting a Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley dream match for eons. But now, if Lesnar's not coming back for SummerSlam, which I'm still surprised that it looks like that's not going to happen. I'm really surprised WWE couldn't get Lesnar back. Why the hell do you have to bring Goldberg in? And even if you're bringing Goldberg in, what has he done to deserve a match? He just lost clean to Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble. Why? I don't care if Goldberg's a legend or not. He has no right. No right. He can't wrestle anymore. He can't wrestle more than 5 minutes and just do finishers. No matter if it's The Undertaker or Goldberg or against The Undertaker or Drew McIntyre or The Fiend, he can't put on a decent match anymore. He can't. All he can do is spears and jackhammers. Nobody's interested in that. You're telling me that your plan for bringing back fans and making SummerSlam the biggest show of the year, you want to make it to a WrestleMania type show, is bringing back Goldberg, who everybody knows. Everybody knows can't wrestle anymore. And why does he get to come back and only get a Universal title shot when he already had, or not a Universal title shot, a WWE Championship shot, when he already had one at the Royal Rumble? Why does he get 2 free title shots at 2 of the biggest shows of the year when he has done nothing to earn them? Edge had to go win the Royal Rumble to get his title shot. And the thing about it is, his title shot at WrestleMania was a triple threat match. It wasn't even 1-on-1. He's not getting his 1-on-1 until this Sunday at Money in the Bank. Why does Goldberg get to come back and only get 2 WWE title shots at 2 of the biggest shows of the year for doing nothing when everybody knows he can't go more than 5 minutes? The match is going to suck. It's going to suck. What? Goldberg's going to hit 3 spears in a row, go for a jackhammer, Lashley's going to counter, hit him with a spear of his own, and then maybe put him in the Hurt Lock, and that's going to be it? Nobody's interested in that. Nobody. I don't understand why why Vince? Because this definitely sounds like a Vince thing. Why did he have to go and just be like, yeah, let's bring back Goldberg? Nobody's interested in that in 2021. Nobody. If you wanted to bring Goldberg back for something else, like, I don't know, maybe do a match with him and Edge, right? I wouldn't be surprised, right? Both are legends. Both have, I don't know if they ever faced back in the Attitude Era. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Because Edge wasn't as big a name yet. Edge was more of a mid-card tag team guy at the time. While Goldberg, of course, was at the top of the card. But still, if you want to do something like that, fine. If you want to do Edge versus Goldberg, fine. You want to do anything with Goldberg not in the title picture, whatever. I'll just use it as a bathroom break. But Goldberg getting a top title opportunity, it's not fair. It honestly shouldn't. Right? I can take Edge challenging for the title. I can take John Cena challenging for the title. But you just bringing back all these part-timers, right? Especially someone like Goldberg, who we know can't go anymore. At least with Edge and Cena, we know they're going to tell a great story, and we know that they still have it. We know that they can still put on a classic if they want to. Goldberg can't. He can't. If Goldberg could still actually wrestle, maybe I wouldn't be so bitchy about this. But he cannot wrestle anymore. He should not be getting this opportunity. And I hope maybe WWE changes their plans in the next couple of days. You know, maybe last minute they decide to go with Kofi winning. Maybe last minute they have Big E winning and they have Big E cashing on Kofi or Bobby Lashley. But Goldberg should not be getting an opportunity. Goldberg should be nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near the WWE Championship picture. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. But we'll see what happens on that front, right? You know, look, I'm going to have to prepare myself now because I already know I'm going to be ranting a lot more probably Monday night if Goldberg is actually returning. You know, but it's probably better that we know this now than waiting on Monday. Because I remember we didn't know Goldberg was challenging Drew McIntyre. You know, I didn't find out until that night when Goldberg's music started playing. And I was like, what the fuck? Are we really doing this? At least if they're actually doing Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley, I know now. And I won't have to have that sour reaction that I had earlier this year. If you guys remember that review from earlier this year when we found out Goldberg was challenging Drew McIntyre. But we'll talk about that a little bit more probably when we have Money in the Bank tomorrow night. We'll also probably talk about it on the Raw review. But I did want to mention it pretty quickly because I know some of you guys were asking me on social media, so I just thought I would address it very quickly on the SmackDown review. But quick announcement, depending on when you guys are watching this, of course, we will be having our Money in the Bank review Sunday night right after the show goes off the air. I may do a live reaction stream, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know yet. But more than likely, we will have the review Sunday night right after Money in the Bank goes off the air. And then we'll have our Monday Night Raw review the next night, you know. Especially now, I'm happy. You know, now that we have fans back in attendance, my motivation now to do the reviews are kind of back. I think, you know, the Thunderdome depressed me so much. I got so sick and tired of the virtual screens. I was just like, you know, maybe I'll wait till we get live fans back in attendance to do the weekly reviews for every show. But either way, man, I'm just very, very pleased that we have fans back in attendance. But we're getting the SmackDown. You know, there wasn't actually not too much happened on this show, you know, in terms of events. You know, there weren't too many matches. They didn't overload with too much. You know, the big thing, of course, you had the 6-man tag, which actually opened up the show. Then you had the Fatal 4, which ended the show. And in the middle, you had Bianca versus Carmella and a couple of other little things, which we'll talk about. But, yeah. So, I know I didn't get a chance to do Money in the Bank predictions, right? I'm trying to keep this review under an hour. So, you know, I'll give my predictions for some of the matches as we go through. You know, and if only if we have a little bit of time at the end, will I do the rest of the card quickly? But I don't know. I want to keep this under an hour. But first off, we had first off, you know, they did a long intro welcoming back the fans. Michael Cole was like, "Damn, we missed you guys." You know, look, Michael Cole, I respect him as a commentator, but sometimes he just sounds way too scripted. He sounded a little bit too scripted here, man. Like he had that written down beforehand. But still, it felt just so good as they panned the camera around the Toyota Center, just seeing fans in attendance because we've seen fans that, you know, in the NBA Finals games. You know, we've seen them with in MLB. We've seen them in NASCAR, UFC fights. Right, even AEW, they were pretty much the first ones, you know, because AEW, they started going back on tour with Dynamite last week, you know, plus they had All Out, I believe, their last pay-per-view, they had full fans. So this was WWE's first real return to fans, right, because WrestleMania, you know, they did their best for WrestleMania, but this signified the actual return of fans, which was great to see. And, of course, Vince McMahon came out, opened up the show, and of course the crowd was, you know, saying his music. No chance, no chance in hell. And we know at WrestleMania, they had, all the superstars on the stage, and then Vince McMahon did the welcome to WrestleMania. So I wasn't surprised that they had him do it again here tonight, or last night on SmackDown. I don't know. It looked like Vince may have been wearing the same suit he did at WrestleMania. But either way, he came out, he pointed to the crowd, and all Vince said was, "Where the hell have you been?" And the fans chanted, and he went back. He didn't say welcome to SmackDown or anything like that. He just said, "Where the hell have you been?" But that was pretty cool. As much as we get on Vince for his bad creative and how much he's out of touch, he still is the boss man, and a lot of this wouldn't be here without him, right? I wish he would give the creative ropes over to, Triple H, but still from a business perspective, he's still great, when it comes to the business side of the company. And, I'm happy for him because I know how much he still loves pro wrestling. He may be out of touch, but he loves pro wrestling. So I know him finally being able to say that to the fans must have been a big moment. And I know he probably was feeling great on the inside. And I know he probably didn't want to say too much, risk embarrassing himself, right? Because he is older now. But still, it felt good to, see Vince out there for a couple seconds. So then we opened up, and of course, the first person to come out was Roman Reigns. I wasn't surprised that we were opening up with the 6-man tag. I thought maybe they would have Roman cut a promo and then do the 6-man tag later in the main event, but they decided to open with the 6-man tag, and I was all for it. I had no problem with that at all. Roman's, remember, this is big because outside of WrestleMania, we have not seen Roman's new theme, Roman's character in a live audience. At WrestleMania, it was fantastic. But the thing about it is, the reaction that Roman's getting, it's more kind of similar to the reaction he got before the pandemic. He got a lot of cheers, and he also got boos. But the thing about it is, the difference here now is that it felt more organic. You guys know that's one of my code words. Organic, natural. This felt more like a natural reaction, not a forced reaction. Back in the day, when he came back from, his cancer treatment, right, and said that he was cleared, he was getting cheers, but he was also getting boos because still there was people that didn't like the way he was booked. Right, and especially a lot of that comes from the 5 years before that when he was shoved down our throats as, them trying to make him the number one babyface. But now, last night, this felt more like an actual new, organic reaction. You had the fans that, of course, love Roman, and I've turned into a Roman Reigns fan, something I never thought I would, because I hated the Roman Reigns babyface character for so many years. But the heel run has been so great and has been almost everything I've always wanted with Roman Reigns as a heel, right? No more vests, the theme song, I don't give a shit about anything attitude. The only thing that was missing to me is we never got to see Roman Reigns in those suits. But, still, outside of that, he's been absolutely fantastic as a heel, which has turned me into a fan. And I've read that WWE is considering turning Roman back into a babyface, which I'm not surprised. But, honestly, if it was up to me, I would never turn Roman back into a babyface. This is where, because Roman's so good in this role, he should honestly be in it for the rest of his career. Maybe eventually you could turn him back into a babyface, but make it different than his initial 5-year babyface run. But still, if it was up to me, I would keep him heel. And the reaction that he got, you had the people that love Roman, right? The people that, are diehard Roman fans and will cheer him, no matter if he's a babyface or a heel. And then you had the boos, which didn't feel like forced boos. These were people that, were just booing him because he's such a great heel. Because you got to remember, he's supposed to be a bad guy on WWE TV. So, the reaction was perfect, and that's the reaction I expect Roman to get going forward. And the thing about it is, hearing that theme song now with the live audience, because remember, at WrestleMania, he was still going with the normal Shield theme song. Now that he has his new theme song, this is the first time it's been played inside an actual arena with fans. It sounded so crisp, sounded so well, right? I told people when he first debuted it, I was like, okay, give it time. I loved it from the first time I heard it. The piano was absolutely fantastic, but I know there was a lot of people that were like, I don't know about this. Now, do you guys see why the theme song is so good? It works perfectly for Roman, perfectly, and I absolutely love it. I love it. Also, I forgot to mention, we have a new setup. We have a new stage. I'm not surprised by this. We still have the same normal theme song, Are You Ready for a Good Time? I thought they would change it, but for now, it's still the same. But we actually have a whole new stage, right? It's really more just a giant Titantron. It looks kind of familiar to the stage we got at WrestleMania 35 a couple years ago in New York, right? The set doesn't look that different, but I like it. I like it. It's clear that they put the big graphics up. Roman's graphics looked amazing. He also got like double pyro in his entrance. He had pyro at the beginning of his entrance when he rose the title on the stage, and then he got pyro again when he was in the ring, and the Usos were alongside him. But the stage looks really nice, really nice. We'll see if Monday Night Raw has a similar design or something new. I would not be surprised if they, use the same set design for Raw. But, we'll just have to wait and see for Monday. I also hope for Money in the Bank. This is one of the things I love about NXT. NXT has unique sets. For pay-per-views on the main roster, they usually just use a Raw or Smackdown stage. I hope we start getting those organic, creative, unique set designs again, especially for Money in the Bank, right? Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, those two shows should definitely have a unique set, a unique feel, because those are big money shows, especially since this is our first pay-per-view finally back with fans in attendance again. But I do like the new set and the graphics and everything like that. That looked pretty cool. All right, but as great as Roman's pop was, there is nothing on any show. I don't know if there'll be anything this weekend. We'll see what happens with Money in the Bank, and maybe if Becky comes back, or Sasha, or Cena, but I don't know if there'll be anything that rivals the pop that Edge got, right? The pop that Edge got at WrestleMania and the pop that he got last night on SmackDown were insane. And you knew it was going to be a great pop, but that's when I was like, yes, finally, this is what we've been waiting for. Edge's music play, You Think You Know Me. The fans absolutely went wild. Even Michael Cole on commentary was like, oh my gosh, right? Because it was like Edge had returned. Edge has been back now for the last month. But, man, that pop, Edge was absolutely, energetic. He was electrifying. He was running to both sides of the stage, yelling at the fans like, give me your energy. Let me feel it. So clearly Edge is still a babyface, right? He teased that he had that little mini heel run going through WrestleMania because of the whole Daniel Bryan thing. But clearly Edge is a babyface still, right? With no one, like, that doesn't surprise me at all. But just seeing how electrifying and how energetic Edge was. He did, his pyro with the Mysterios, which was an awesome visual. Great stuff. Absolute great stuff. Plus, he had some new attire, like some gold, white, and black, which looked really good. And then we had the match, right? The first match post Thunderdome era, and it was great. I don't know what really, that I don't know what else to say. It was a great match, and you knew it was going to be a great match, right? There was everybody in that ring, outside of maybe Dominic, because Dominic is still a little green in the ring. Everybody in that match, can put on a great match with almost anybody in the locker room. You have Roman Reigns, you have Edge, you have you have Rey Mysterio, you have the Usos, who I think are the best tag team in the world. Like, you knew it was going to be a good match. So the babyface took control early, but then the Usos down Dominic and Reigns tagged in. So then Roman powerbombed Dominic on the announce table, which I kind of knew that was coming because you knew Dominic was probably going to be the one that got attacked, right? Because you want to keep Edge and Roman, kind of separate. So then coming out of the match, we saw Edge tagged in, and, the crowd went absolutely wild. So Then Edge speared Reigns on the floor outside the ring. And then we saw Jimmy. He hit a cheap shot on Rey Mysterio. And Jay was able to roll up Rey for the pinfall victory. After the match, the Usos and Mysterio got into a brawl. But then Edge came in with a chair, right? Edge took out the Usos. But then Reigns hit Edge with a Superman punch. And then he looked like he broke the piece of the chair, and he was going to do the same cross-face submission hold that Edge has been doing on him and the Usos the last month, right? But, before Roman could do it, Roman had his back turned. When he turned around, Reigns got speared by Edge for a second time. Then Edge did the cross-face submission with the chair again, and Roman tapped out. On commentary, of course, Michael was like, if that happens this Sunday, Edge will be the new Universal Champion. So, the big thing here is, right, this tells me that Reigns is winning on Sunday. Edge has looked super dominant. And I understand, that you want Edge to look dominant, kind of, because the guy got stacked at WrestleMania. None of us have forgotten how Edge lost at WrestleMania. He was stacked on top of Daniel Bryan in one of the most dominant main event finishes of all time. So, of course, you want to make Edge look more dominant. Even though he's a legend, you want people to actually believe Edge has a chance. Because if Edge got beat like that in a triple threat match, why should we believe in him in a one-on-one match? So that's why Edge has had the upper hand on Roman and his family these last couple weeks. But you guys know WWE's formula. If you look dominant right before a pay-per-view, right? The go-home show before a pay-per-view. If you look dominant, it is most likely meaning that you're not winning on Sunday. And I've already told you guys that, one of the things that kind of has taken me aback, and we all know Roman and Edge is probably going to be the main event, and I expect it to be a fantastic match. I'm not worried about the match itself. It's more the story, to me personally. Like, I know that Roman is not losing. I know there's no way WWE wouldn't have Roman walk into SummerSlam as Universal Champion. Especially when he's this close to being, for holding the title for a year. I think he's already at, 320-something days? So, he'll be, in about 40 days, he'll have been Universal Champion for over a year. So, there's no way Edge is winning. Especially how Edge has put Roman in that submission hold multiple times. Especially last night. And then the visual of Roman tapping out, which Roman has not done. Roman has not tapped out once throughout this entire run, right, of him being a dominant heel. That tells you that he's winning on Sunday. They wouldn't give you that visual of Roman tapping out if he wasn't. It's just going to be used for video and marketing purposes, and Roman's going to win. Most likely what's going to happen is Seth, especially where I'm even more confident about that now, is because Seth did win the Fatal 4-Way, and, at the end of the show, they showed Seth bringing down the Money in the Bank briefcase. That tells you that Seth's not winning. Because why would they give you the visual of Seth winning the Money in the Bank match, right, 2 days before the pay-per-view if he wasn't winning on Sunday? Seth's not winning. Clearly, Seth's going to lose, and then he's going to interfere in the Edge and Roman match, right? Probably cost Edge the match, and then that's going to set up Seth versus Edge at SummerSlam, and then hopefully we get Roman versus Cena. Especially since Seth and Edge have had backstage segments the last couple of weeks. Because after the match, right, Edge was being interviewed by Kayla Braxton, and Kayla was like, Edge, even though you guys didn't win the match, how did it feel making Roman tap out? Edge said, I'm going to have to be a sadistic son of a bitch this Sunday if I'm going to walk out as the Universal Champion, and that's the type of person I have no problem being. He said, as great as it felt making Roman tap out, that doesn't mean nothing tonight, but it gives him more confidence and more motivation going into Sunday. So, Edge knows that, just because Roman tapped out tonight, it's going to make it even harder for Roman to tap out this Sunday. Plus, here's the thing. Is this match no DQ? I haven't heard anything about it being no DQ. But if they keep teasing Edge using the chair, right? He's used it every single week since he's been back. But I've never heard anything about this match being no DQ or being no holds barred or extreme rules or anything like that. Because clearly, if it's a normal one-on-one championship match, he can't use that during the match. He'll get disqualified. So I don't know if WWE means for this match to be no DQ or if they're going to wait for the last minute to let us know. But personally, if it is, I just wish they would tell us. I wish they would just tell us now. But either way, I just don't see Edge winning. And then Seth confronted Edge, and he was laughing in his face, talking about, I really hope you win this Sunday. I really hope, because I'm going to win Money in the Bank, and I'm going to finish what I started 7 years ago, right? And they're talking about that famous Monday Night Raw segment where Seth was about to hit Edge with the curb stomp, and remember, Edge was not cleared to compete at the time. Cena had to let the authority be reinstated, and Cena said, of course, yes, just to save Edge's skin. So clearly, I love how they brought the past back into this, right? How Edge hasn't forgotten and how Seth hasn't forgotten. Seth said, I'm going to finish what I started 7 years ago, and I'm going to hit you with the stomp and then become Universal Champion. So they've already laid the groundwork for the Seth and Edge feud going into SummerSlam, right? So I don't think Edge is winning. I think Seth is going to have some kind of role in the finish, and then that's going to lead us to Seth versus Edge at SummerSlam, because I don't think Seth's winning Money in the Bank either, right? But really good way to start off SmackDown. Really good. Moving on. We had Sami Zayn, right? Sami Zayn came out, and, Sami Zayn, he's still doing his conspiracy theories about injustice. This time, he said there was a conspiracy going on, keeping him out of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And Sami Zayn is fantastic, right? And it's great to see him get to do his antic now, in front of a crowd again. He, when he, before the pandemic, he was doing this a little bit, but this gimmick really took off. When we were in the pandemic in the Thunderdome era, right? We all remember him handcuffing himself to the barricade, and just sitting there for almost all of SmackDown, and you can see how all the WWE superstars, as they made their entrances, they interacted with Sami. We remember when he handcuffed, I think it was AJ Styles, and I don't know, was it Jeff Hardy, I believe, to a ladder, and he won the IC championship. So Sami is great. He's fantastic. As much as I wish we could get a babyface Sami again, Sami's still great at what he does. And, it's just good that he gets to do these conspiracy theories, now with the crowd again. And hopefully, WWE lets him be creative and do some new things. But Seth did... or not Seth, Sami. I don't know. I hope I haven't been saying Seth for this whole. But Sami's great. Sami came out and he said that the one thing that could make a difference now is now I have all of you. All of you guys are witnesses to this injustice, and now you guys can help me, right? So. So as Sami is, spitting out his conspiracy theories, right? Finn Balor's music played, and he had, the Prince graphics up. So Finn came out, right? He did his normal, I forget what this pose is called, but Finn is back on SmackDown. That's where I believe he was before he went back down to NXT. Guys, remember last time Finn was on SmackDown, I think he was IC champion, and I forgot who he lost the title to. But, he took a break, went down to NXT to kind of refine himself, became NXT champion again, and now he's back on the blue brand. He got a huge pop, and was so good to see him, looking great. We haven't seen him since he lost the rematch to Karrion Kross. And some of us kind of knew, Finn Balor was going to come up at some point. We knew he was going to come back up at some point, right? Because What, you're going to keep him NXT, have him go back to the North American title? Like, no. Balor's a guy that should be at the top in the main event, And he came out, Sami tried to hit him with a sneak attack, but he did, I think, the sling blade, and then he did the coup de grace. And then he did his signature pose with the arms outstretched. And, it was a good segment. You knew that there was going to be some big returns, right? And I would say probably some of us didn't think Balor would probably come back until the draft, right? Because we know we were going to have the draft a little bit after SummerSlam. But to see Balor back, I'm happy to see him back. I just hope that they treat him correctly this time. Please book him correctly. No more of this Smiley Finn. Remember this guy? Remember this guy that was on the main roster from, 2016 to 2019? Smiley Finn. He, that did nothing, really. He just smiled. It took him 2 years to get his Universal Championship rematch after he had to vacate the title because of injury after he beat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. But, when he came back, all he was Smiley Finn. I'll get my Universal Championship opportunity when I get it. He had a great match against Brock Lesnar. He had some great moments during his initial run in the main roster. But for the most part, we remember him for being Smiley Finn. And I don't know if, there's going to be a chance that we see Demon Finn Balor back, right? I would love to see Demon Finn Balor. But I don't know if that's just in the past. I know that he had no plans to use an NXT, but we've seen it on the main roster multiple times. So that's going to be interesting to see if maybe, in the future we see Demon Finn Balor make an appearance. But what matters to me is I want to see the Finn Balor we saw in NXT. Right? The guy who didn't play any games. The guy that would walk up to you, beat your ass, and then walk off. Badass babyface Finn. Not the Smiley Finn that we saw for 3 years on the main roster. I hope somebody was taking notes of how Finn was booked down in NXT. Please don't bring him back and make him into the same Smiley Finn that we had on the main roster from 2016 to 2019. Please. Because then he's going to want to go right back down to NXT. If you're truly bringing back Finn Balor, honestly, hey, you want to do something with Finn right away? You can have him feud with Apollo Crews for the IC Championship. That would be a brilliant match for SummerSlam. I know the mid-card division on SmackDown is stacked, right? You got Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, you have Big E, you have Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, right? Honestly, if you want to do like a Fatal 5-Way or do some kind of elimination style match at SummerSlam so you can get all those names on the card, I would have no problem with that. But please, just treat Finn Balor seriously. The guy is too good just to be out there to smile and wave to the kids. No. Book him correctly. Book him like a badass. Because we all know how great Finn Balor is. And I hope this time, this run on the main roster is treated better than the one that he had last time. Because he is too good to be wasted. Like I said, you need something for him to do right away, you can have him go after Apollo Crews in the IC Championship. I would have no problem with that. That would be great. Especially with how good Apollo is. I know that Apollo, he did a backstage exclusive where he came out and he was just mocking the fans. He said, thank you for being here. All right, thank you for being here. I could have defended my title, but I decided not to. But Apollo is great as a heel. I think Apollo versus Finn is something that they should look into. You can also do Apollo versus Shinsuke Nakamura. You can also do Apollo versus Kevin Owens, right? Or you could just try to get all of them into the title scene and do some type of like elimination match for SummerSlam. But, we'll see. But they definitely have lots of options. I'm happy to see Finn Balor back. Let's just hope that they're, treated, or that he's treated correctly on the main roster this time. Next up, we had a tag team championship contender match. Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox versus Natalya and Tamina. We know that their names have been shortened to Shotzi and Nox, which I still don't get. I still don't understand. But Yeah, that's the deal there. But we know that last week they made their debut and uh they beat the tag team champions. And you guys know I don't really care too much about the tag team division. It's really whatever to me personally. But I know a lot, a lot of people are excited. And I told you guys in the review last week, the way WWE should book Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox is simple. If you want, you have Sasha Banks come back. She wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. You can move Bianca over to Raw, potentially. All right, just I know someone in I forget, someone in the comment section threw that out. I've been thinking about it all week. It's a great idea, actually. It's a fantastic idea. And then you can have Sasha elevate having one-on-one feuds for the SmackDown Women's Championship with Tegan, with Shotzi, with Tony Storm, whenever Tony Storm makes her debut, right? And elevate those superstars. Because Sasha only brings people up, right? Uh, but this didn't make sense to me, really. They beat the tag team champions last week clean. That should automatically, if we're using logic, right? That should automatically make them the number one contenders. That should make them the number one contenders. And honestly, you should probably do the match of Money in the Bank. But instead, they did a second match, right? Same match as last week. And this time, it's for number one contendership. I'm just like, huh? It's kind of like insulting our intelligence. And you guys know how I feel about, insulting our intelligence when it comes to WWE. It's just like, what's the point? If you had them win last week, right? If you had them win last week, why did we need why did they need to win another match this week to become the number one contenders? If anything, this match should have been for the titles. But whatever, right? Like, forget George trying to actually make sense of WWE. But anyway, they got the win. The match wasn't anything special. It was just right. It kind of brought the mood down a little bit. Even though I like Tegan and Shotzi a lot, it was just like after having that great 6-man tag match to start the show, and then the return of Finn Balor, I was just like, kind of brought. It was like almost like a little bit of a cool off moment. And then we had Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan watching from commentary, right? So, basically, Morgan and Vega, they had been going at it on commentary with one another. And then, they started brawling. Then this distracting Natalya, and then Tegan Nox got the small package roll-up, right? The most dangerous move in all of wrestling. The dreaded roll-up. And then after the match, we saw Tamina and Natalya. They were very angry. And they went after Vega and Morgan, but then Morgan was able to hold her ground and stand tall, point to the briefcase. And we know that, like I said earlier, Tamina is also in that match now. So no Sasha, no Becky filling in those spots. Liv Morgan actually cut a very, very passionate promo after the match. It was on, during commercial break, but they put on WWE's YouTube channel. Liv cut an amazing promo, talking about how passionate she was, and how finally, because the interviewer was like, you're lucky to be in this match. And Liv was like, lucky? No, I'm anything but lucky. I earned my spot in that match. The fans were behind it. I kind of wish they would play this on TV. I kind of wish that they did. But still, it was a great moment. So happy for Liv. She absolutely deserves it. Absolutely deserves it. And definitely, she's the one I'm pulling for this Sunday. I'm pulling for Liv Morgan. Pulling for her. I think she should be the one to win that briefcase. Honestly. But I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I said. Let me just look up the actual feud. Really quickly. Because I know you got... who you got in there? Let's see. You have... Asuka. I don't think Asuka's winning. You got Naomi. I would love to see Naomi win. Alexa Bliss, I wouldn't get too mad at her winning, but I don't think she will. She doesn't need the briefcase. Plus, she's already won in the past. Nikki Cross, I don't think Nikki's winning it. Liv is my pick. Zelina Vega, I don't think Zelina's winning. And Natalia and Tamina, I think they're just there just to fill in bodies, right? So I'm pulling for either Naomi, my bad, Naomi or Liv. I'm pulling for one of those two. So Naomi or Liv, one of those two win. I will have no complaints. No complaints if Naomi or Liv win. But that's who I'm rooting for. Let me know who you guys got in the comment section. Who you guys got winning. But yeah, like I said, go check out that Live program if you guys haven't already. It is live on WWE's YouTube page. It is definitely worth it. It was a great promo. Great stuff there. Next up, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship match: Bianca Belair versus Carmella. Remember, this match was thrown together in less than a week because, of course, Bayley's injury. Remember, Bayley was supposed to be facing Bianca in an I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. But Bayley's leg injury is legit, right? And she will be out for the next 9 months. Kind of sucked not getting to see her return in front of a live crowd. We know how great Bayley is. You know, I threw out the idea last week if WWE wants to, maybe, bring Bayley out to commentary. Her being on commentary with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole would be absolutely hilarious and probably must-see television. So maybe, if WWE wants to put that on the table, they should definitely do it. Definitely do it. But still, they threw this match together in less than a week, and the match wasn't bad. This was I had been telling you guys, this would be a big test for Bianca. Could she deliver in a match, that didn't involve one of the four horsewomen? Could she deliver in a match that didn't involve a Sasha Banks or a Bayley, basically? And she did her job. The match wasn't wasn't like when we look back at the best match of the year, I'm not gonna be saying, oh, do you remember Bianca and Carmella from the July 16th edition of SmackDown, right? No, it's not. It's nowhere close to being one of the best matches of the year, but it was a okay match, and a lot of that goes to the fans. The fans were clearly on Bianca's side for this. Carmella did her job, and it was a good match. It was, it wasn't like 4 or 5 stars, anything like that, but it got the job done. Remember, it was a TV show championship match, and Bianca did her job, right? Carmella turned the title in her favor heading into the break. Bianca fought back, doing the babyface comeback, using her power, of course. Carmella answered with a Hurricane Rana from the top rope and a guillotine choke. She scored a near fall and then proceeded to pull at the champion's ponytail, but then Bianca whipped her in the midsection and delivered the KOD. So basically, this finish was identical to how she won the title at WrestleMania when she beat Sasha, right? The hair whip to the midsection. It wasn't nearly as loud as what she did to Sasha, of course. Like, remember, she did it to Sasha in a freaking football stadium, right? So it wasn't as loud. Look, I do sometimes get a little bit tired of seeing Bianca use the ponytail. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of her always using the ponytail every single match, but, I guess, they keep having the heels targeted. Damn, everyone's talking about this new Vegeta form. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, I don't know why I said we'll see. But I would, if it was me, personally, I would stop having Bianca use the ponytail so much. It just doesn't feel as special. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's the same thing that they did at WrestleMania. But also, I'm just like, they're using it a little bit too much. They did it at WrestleMania with Sasha. They did it at, what was it? Not Money in the Bank, but I think it was WrestleMania Backlash, I believe it was. They did have WrestleMania Backlash with Bianca and Bayley, right? I think they also did have Money in the Bank, and now they're doing it here with Carmella. Like, we don't need to do the same thing every single time. Bianca doesn't have to always win her matches with somebody grabbing at her long ponytail and her using it as a weapon. Like, come on. I think we can do better. But either way, The match was okay, right? The fans were on her side. It was good to see Bianca get that babyface reaction. Definitely. A lot of people are like, oh, this is what the WrestleMania victory did for Bianca. I guess. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But clearly the direction going forward should be Sasha. I know a lot of people believe that Sasha was going to come back after this match and then, challenge Bianca to a rematch. But I guess maybe just because it's 2 days before Money in the Bank, it would just make more sense for them to do it next week on SmackDown, and then just have Sasha come out and confront Bianca next week and lay down the challenge for SummerSlam, right? Because it'll kind of feel weird for Sasha to come back and challenge Bianca for SummerSlam when Money in the Bank is 2 days away. So I expect Sasha to most likely be back next week. Cause I don't think Bianca doesn't. This was supposed to be Bianca's title defense on Money in the Bank, but they got out of the way tonight. So, no complaints here. But I expect Sasha to be back next week, and then we can get the ball rolling on the Sasha and Bianca rematch for SummerSlam, which should be exciting. So hopefully we can just wait one more week on the return of the best female wrestler in the world, Sasha Banks. All right, so next, our last sub, really. Last thing before we get out of here. So we had the Fatal 4-Way main event, and it started off with King Corbin. King Corbin made his way to the ring. You can see he's growing out his hair, his beard. You can see the gray hairs everywhere, right? So Corbin's been basically the storyline with him ever since he lost his crown to Nakamura. He's basically lost everything, right? Even though it doesn't make sense to me, really. But, yeah. But, what was I saying? So, yeah, Baron Corbin's been, doing this new gimmick, basically where, he's broke. Even though I said it last week, Corbin is kind of dumb because Corbin's supposed to be, a WWE superstar. He should be getting paid pretty well for his services. So, is he like not getting paid by WWE, or is the story that that he lived a little too lavish with the crowd, and then that even his WWE salary can't pay? And it's also to the point where he came out and he's told everybody, begging them, practically on his knees begging, basically saying, ask for everyone to donate to the Corbin Fund. And I actually searched it up. It is a real website, thecorbinfund.com. Clearly they made the website just for this segment, which seemed kind of waste, right? But I don't know if anybody's going to need a URL called Corbin Fund. But, hey, what do I know? But, Corbin, was asking people to go and donate to the website. There is no donation link to the website because they don't actually want people to donate. This is just for storyline, of course. So, Corbin implored the audience to help him financially. And then, as he was begging, Kevin Owens came out. Kevin was fired up by the live audience. I remember Kevin had the same attitude at WrestleMania, but it was good to see KO. It felt more like KO was letting his real life self out. KO was less in character and more just enjoying the moment. Absolutely. The crowd absolutely fired him up. And I love KO's music, man. Hearing KO's music live in person, that is amazing. And he was definitely happy to be back home in front of the WWE Universe. So he came to the ring. Corbin started begging KO for money, right? He said, "You have money, right? You have a family. You need to know what I'm going through." And then Corbin then insulted KO by insulting the way he dresses, and then KO dropped him with a stunner, and then we got the Fatal 4-Way. During the commercial break on WWE's YouTube page, they posted a clip of Big E and KO asking Corbin to come back to the ring and then promising that, they would help him. Corbin came back to the ring and then went right back. So, and then we got the Fatal 4-Way. Fatal 4 was pretty good. There was no way that you could have Rollins, Nakamura, Big E, and Owens, and not have it be a good match. These are four of the best in the company. So this was, the action was ferocious, and it was kind of a little bit of a preview for what we would be getting at Money in the Bank with these four individuals. Plus, I would say it was great to see the crowd singing Nakamura's theme again, man. Woof. Love it. The as Jay Buggs, plays the guitar, Pat McAfee loses his mind on commentary. Absolutely amazing, amazing stuff. I absolutely loved it. So then inside the ring, Biggie and Owens took big bumps onto the floor. Then we come back from break. Owens did a top rope elbow drop off the top of the ladder, diving Nakamura through the announce table. I'm willing to bet we'll see something similar like that this Sunday. Then we saw Rollins doing the stomp to Big E, diving him face first into another ladder. And then Rollins did the stomp, got the 1, 2, 3, and then he stood tall atop the ladder to close out the show. So Seth, looks good. He grabs the briefcase, and clearly this is WWE telling you that he is not going to win on Sunday. I thought I just saw an ant. You guys know how much I hate ants. But anyway, this is WWE telling you that Seth is not going to win on Sunday. Clearly, like I've been saying, Seth is most likely going to lose. He's going to interfere in the Edge and Roman match and then cause Edge to lose, most likely giving us the Seth and Edge match for SummerSlam. But either way, this was a decent addition to SmackDown. It wasn't perfect, but it was decent. I also forgot to mention here, because it's not in the Bleacher Report notes, we had Cesaro versus Otis, right? Otis had attacked Cesaro backstage, similar to how he had been doing to other people like the Street Profits, and that led to a match. And Cesaro had the upper hand on Otis, and then he was going to put Otis in the swing, and then Chad Gable attacked him, and then Otis and Gable got on Cesaro and basically stood strong. Kind of sucks, especially for Cesaro, man, because he was on such a roll. He had that great match with Roman Reigns. I think it was at WrestleMania Backlash. Had that fantastic main event with Roman Reigns. And then he had some great matches with Seth Rollins. He's not in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and now it's like it's kind of like he has to stay on the sidelines now for a little bit because he's not in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Hopefully, after the Money in the Bank ladder match, right, Cesaro will continue back on his babyface push. Like I said, there's so much talent in that mid-card division. Like I already mentioned, like KO, Big E, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Apollo Crews, Finn Balor. Like, the list goes on and on and on, man. So much talent in that mid-card division. Definitely once we had the draft at the SummerSlam, a lot of those names are probably going to get split up. Some will stay on SmackDown. Some will go to Monday Night Raw to try to even things out, man. But so much talent in that mid-card division. I just hope WWE can find a way to use them all, because they all deserve to be on TV, especially with the return of fans. And hopefully WWE can find a way to fit them all on TV. But Cesaro, it looks like he'll continue this mini feud with Otis for now. I can see him maybe teaming up with Nakamura after Money in the Bank to go up against Gable and Otis. Because Cesaro and Nakamura, they were not a bad tag team. If WWE wants to reunite them as a babyface tag team, I would have no problem with that. Especially now that the Usos are heel, right? You kind of need another babyface tag team to kind of even things out. So, if you want to have Cesaro and Nakamura, Gable and Otis, the Usos, the Street Profits, you also have Ziggler and Rude, right? Plus you have Mysterio and Dominic. You have a pretty good tag team division right there. So maybe that should be the plan for Cesaro going forward until the draft. But I'm just throwing ideas out there. Gable and Otis have looked really good together, right? I would not be against them going after the SmackDown Tag Team Championships and maybe even winning them, right? Maybe they're the ones that should be the ones to take them off the Usos if the Usos win and beat the Mysterio family this Sunday at Money in the Bank. Maybe the Usos don't win. Maybe you have Gable and Otis be the ones to take the titles off the Mysterios. Who knows? But I'm all for it. I'm all for a Gable and Otis push. They've been great. They deserve it. So hopefully WWE goes in on this team because they are fantastic. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. I'm going to get out of here. Right before I leave, though, I'm going to give you guys my Money in the Bank predictions very quickly. Like I said, women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I'm going with either Naomi or Liv Morgan. It should be one of those two. Men's Money in the Bank match, I'm going to go with Big E. The Raw Women's Championship match, I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair is going to be the match for SummerSlam. I think, I think Becky will most likely come back after this match. She may come back, on Money in the Bank, or she'll come back the night after on Monday Night Raw. But, if Becky's ready, I expect her to be in the Raw Women's Championship match, going after the title she never lost at SummerSlam. And there's no way they're going to keep Charlotte off SummerSlam after they kept her off WrestleMania. So I think it's going to be Ripley winning, but Ripley versus Charlotte versus Becky, I think that's going to be the match for SummerSlam. Reigns versus Edge, you guys have already heard me say Reigns. And for the WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston. I want Kofi to win, but I think Lashley is going to retain, especially with those damn Goldberg rumors. Then Raw Tag Team Championship, AJ Styles and Owens versus the Viking Raiders. I think this will probably be on the pre-show, so I'm gonna go with AJ and Owens. Right? I think Randy Orton, Matt Riddle, RK Bro. I think those are gonna be the ones to take the titles off of AJ and Owens at SummerSlam. And then the Usos versus the Mysterio family. I think it's gonna be the Usos, even though the rumors said that WWE was gonna have the Usos win at SummerSlam. I would not be surprised if they move that up to Money in the Bank. Especially, we don't know what's going to happen with Roman Reigns in the Universal Championship. We don't know if it's going to be Big E. We don't know if it's going to be John Cena. We don't know who's going to be challenging Roman at SummerSlam. But either way, let me know what you guys think. Give me your prediction in the comment section down below. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. It feels so good to do these reviews, knowing that we have fans back in attendance. And, a decent SmackDown. A decent SmackDown. Not perfect, but a decent SmackDown for the first show with live fans back in attendance. I will be back here tomorrow night, depending on when you guys are watching this, of course. I will be back Sunday night with the Money in the Bank 2021 review right after the show. So come join me for the live stream. If you guys can't make the live stream, the podcast will be available after the stream is over, whenever you guys want to listen. Also, guys, make sure to check out the Monday Night Raw reviews. I will have a Monday Night Raw review the night after Money in the Bank. So a big weekend. Tons of podcast content for you guys. Thank you guys for everything. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Also, make sure to follow me down on social media. The link is in the description down below. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.